Welcome along to another episode of The Sweet Spot, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with SBK. We are looking back and looking forward. A tough week last week for us. Steve Palmer of the Racing Post joins us, but we're going to dust ourselves down and go again, Steve.
Well, we very much failed to buck the trend. You were talking about bucking trends last week, weren't you? But a good week was followed by a terrible week. It was one of those golf tournaments, day that reminded us why bookmakers often drive around in Rolls Royces. Very, very good week to be a bookmaker, wasn't it? Not just with the golf tournament. Every sport was a minefield for punters last week. So, lots of dusting down to be done.
Yes, I did notice in the YouTube comments there was one or two people asking how England got on in the darts. And we'll get on to all of that, Steve. I don't want to kick a good man while he's down, but we'll get on to all that. You, of course, are here on the Racing Post YouTube channel, and it is Royal Ascot week. You didn't fancy your top and tails today then, Steve, but we'll furnish you with everything you need to know here on the Racing Post YouTube channel. We've got shows morning, noon and night. Good morning, Ascot, around about 8:30, and you can get in the know at 6:30 p.m. as well. So preview shows, review shows, the whole lot right here on the Racing Post YouTube channel. Have you got any interest, Steve? You got any fancies?
Blimey, no. I do not know one end of a horse from the other. If you gave me a bowl of sugar lumps to feed to a horsey, I would probably end up sticking them up their rear. So, don't come to me for horse racing advice, Dave. Leave that to the
Okay. Let's move on very, very swiftly from that bombshell. Listen, if anyone has got any fancies out there, drop them in the comments. We peer over them. And we will, of course, look back on the US Open. Before we do so, just a reminder of our friends at SBK have got a Bet 10, I think it's £40 at the moment in free bets. So make sure you jump onto their website, betsbk.com, to take full advantage of that. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. Gamble aware. Right, let's get into it then, Steve. Now, I wanted it to be tough. I wanted it to be brutal. And we got all of it and more.
Well, yeah, you would have had no players under par at J.J. Spaun that hold the longest putt of the week on the 72nd hole. Obviously, we got a magical moment at the end there, but it was a real battle for everyone. We had 125 to 1 winner there in J.J. Spaun. I never thought he was good enough to become a major champion. This was a 34-year-old journeyman prior to last week's tournament. He played in the early stages of round 4 like a 34-year-old journeyman. He was 5 over par through 6 holes, Dave. And then the weather delay was just ideally timed for him. The weather delay changed everything. There was some electricity in the air, so the players have gone off. J.J. Spaun's had a full reset. He's had a good chat with his coaches who were telling him he was trying too hard. And then he had an outfit change, Dave. Did you notice he came back in a different outfit? It was like he's gone in there as Clark Kent and he's come out as Superman, because after the weather delay, he was a totally different player. As I say, the scenes on the 72nd hole, if you're a neutral, again, we very rarely are neutrals on Sweet Spot. If you were a neutral, you couldn't fail to enjoy that final hole. I mean, he's a very genial chap. He seems a right sweetheart. It was hard not to be pleased for him. I think the neutrals would have enjoyed J.J. Spaun's victory.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned journeyman, and obviously it all comes out in the wash afterwards about how close he was to, losing his card a couple of years ago, and his thoughts of him giving up. A fairy tale. Was it a player that could have been found, or is this just one so left field that these things just happen?
Well, he obviously went very close in the Players' Championship in March, lost a player for the Players' Championship. He had the 5th major. So, he's got amazing ability of finding fairways, and obviously finding fairways was so important last week. So, I suppose so. He was nowhere near selection for me because, I just didn't have J.J. Spaun down as a major champion. And, yes, it's funny how these things work out. I mean, Victor Hovland was putting for birdie on exactly the same line on that 72nd hole. It was a massive break for Spaun to get that read from Victor Hovland. And in the post-round media conference, he was talking about when he won the Texas Open, which was the only other tournament he's ever won. A similar thing happened. He got a lovely read on the final hole there. So, luck plays a big role in golf tournaments. And JJ, was delighted to get that read. But all credit to him. It was just a remarkable final day. You give him no chance after those first 6 holes. And then he came back a different man. Funny old game, Saint. Funny old game.
It is. Well, did you have you seen the? I think there was a live interview with Tyrrell Hatton while he was putting out,
Yes, yeah, I have seen
and
that.
it
Yeah,
was kind of it just
yeah,
echoed probably what all of us thought. What a way to win it! Like if you're going to win a maiden major, like drain
yeah,
one from like another postcode, and
yeah.
even Hatton said, "What a way to win it."
Oh, it was a fascinating interview because about a minute before that happened, Hatton's in a bit of a ruck with one of the reporters. Be like, so many players are getting angry with the media now. I'm finding it quite disturbing. But one of the reporters had said like what was unlucky because Hatton was moaning about a bad luck when he got stuck in a downhill lie on the 17th hole, I think it was, wasn't it? And the reporter asked him to explain what was unlucky about it, and he just started tearing him. What a stupid question is that? Of course it's unlucky. But then when he saw Spaun's putt go in, it sort of lightened the mood a little bit. But unbelievable drama. Obviously, no good for us from a punting perspective. But yeah, as a neutral, which we must appreciate golf for what it is sometimes. Just so pleased for JJ Spaun.
Yeah, listen, I know you'll take your flowers when we find winners and dust yourself down when we don't. Steve, it's tough. I know you beat yourself up because you want people to follow you and win money, and we've not really got close last week, but it is
Yeah,
hard. Golf punting is hard, so that's why we want to celebrate. The week before, we've had like a 69-1 winner, and we
yeah.
just have to go again. It's tough going, and the reason why it was tough going is those. We'll get onto the sort of market principles pre-tournament. They all struggled, all of them.
Yeah, that's it. No, we can go through them all now. I mean, the one solace is that we didn't back to any really short ones. If you played the right top of the market there, you would have lost even more. So, we'll go through the big names, and Oakmont humbled them all.
Well, you've mentioned Rory in the media, but he wasn't the favourite. Scheffler was. What were your thoughts? He looked like he was getting a bit agitated as well on the course.
Well, he was agitated after round one. He spent ages on the driving range, sort of shouting at his coach, and he looked really flustered after round one. He didn't really start playing well till the weekend. Swung really well on Sunday, but didn't convert the putts. One of the few things we got right last week was that Scheffler would struggle on these greens, and he did miss a load of putts. But still managed to finish seventh. Just shows the quality of the man that he had his D game early on in the tournament.
Yeah.
Didn't hold a putt and still finished tied seventh. Scheffler's favourite this week will come to the Travellers Championship. I mean, Robert McIntyre. Before we go through all the market principles
Around the golf.
that flopped last week, we must talk about Robert McIntyre, the runner-up, because brilliant weekend, 69-68, best ever majors result. Massive runner for the Open Championship now. He's halved in price since that round because his debut in the Open Championship was at Portrush in 2019. He finished sixth, so he'll be relishing his return to Portrush next month in the form he showed there. So it was great. You had two really good guys in first and second there, I'd say.
Yeah, well, before we get on to Rory in his multiple club throws, what about sort of I mentioned Hatton and Hovland, two players that were right bang
Yeah.
there as well come Sunday.
Yeah, Hovland. I mean, I was too hasty in ruling him out from plans for the year because his iron play last week was majestic. He just couldn't keep it in play off the tee. His driving over the weekend was poor, but the iron play so encouraging. He hasn't missed a cut since he won the Valspar in March. So the future is bright for Hovland. Bryson DeChambeau. We can't go. We must mention the miscut of Bryson DeChambeau. Is another one. I was pleased that we avoided that one because he was 7-1 last week. And Live Virginia was a real turning point in my thinking on him because his driving was wild at Live Virginia. He had a new driver in the bag last week. Couldn't find a fairway again last week, could he? So I'm so pleased we kept an eagle eye on Live Virginia. And John Rahm, another one of the favourites that lost his mind. We wondered whether he had
For once, yeah.
Yeah, well, we suspected he wouldn't have the temperament for Oakmont, and he lost his rag. He putted so poorly, and he was getting angry, and Rahm needs to, Rahm and Oakmont is not a good mix, I don't think. And then, as you say, Rory McIlroy, we could spend a whole podcast.
Well, listen, I love Rory to bits, but that's starting to wane a little bit. Some of his stuff with the media, what's going on with him?
it's so peculiar. He's a fascinating case study in as a human at the moment, because obviously he's achieved his lifelong dream in winning the Masters. You think it's all going to be rosy after that, and he's just mentally struggling for motivation. It seems like he hates golf now. He hates anyone talking to him about golf. He's just in a terrible headspace, isn't he? So yeah, he just can't get his competitive juices flowing at the moment, it seems. He said he was flirting around the cut line on Friday, and then one of the reporters was being really nice to him, saying, well done for battling to make the cut. It was really impressive grit and that. And his response was that he didn't care whether he made the cut, and and it takes the there's no pressure. It's easier to make the cut when you don't care whether you're going to make the cut. So
But even the talk about like, I've earned the right to not have to talk to you. Now, obviously, media obligations are not part of the PGA Tour at the moment, although it sounds like that might change. But
it's being nasty.
That's not McIlroy, is it?
No, that's it. Because you can have this sort of lack of motivation and sort of just wanting to get away from golf without being nasty to everyone. That's why I don't mind if he says I hate golf and I don't want to play to Royal Port Rush. You sort of sense he doesn't want to play to Royal Port Rush. It seems like the only thing that can motivate him now is an Open in Northern Ireland. If you can be like that without having to be horrible to everyone. So it's the nastiness I don't get. He probably doesn't want to play this week, but it's a signature event. Contracts, sponsors, you feel obliged to play. But it's interesting. Maybe he'll snap out of it. Maybe there's things going on at home. We don't know, do we? We're all human beings, as Graham Taylor once said to an England fan who was abusing John Barnes. That's a human being you're talking about there. So who knows what's going on in the world of Rory McIlroy? But it's surprising. It's really surprising what's happened since the Masters.
Okay, well, I'll fall off this chair in this room if you tip him this week. We'll get on to all of that.
Don't fall off the chair. My mum fell off a chair on Sunday to make my Sunday even more disturbing. Don't fall off chairs.
Is she all right? Is she all good?
Yeah, she's all right. She's all right. But my weekend did not go to plan.
I'm in the office today. I'm not in the West Wing. I'm not in the study in the West Wing. I'm in the office today. So if I do fall off the chair, at least there's a few people around to assist me.
It reminded me of Ghostbusters when I saw you today. You remember that scene in Ghostbusters where yeah, exactly. The books start going. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen today.
We'll be all right. Okay, I think. Right, anything else to add? The one thing I wanted to ask you is about J.J. Spaun, the winner. He's not the 8th best golfer in the world, is it? It shows that the rankings are just nonsense.
Well, yeah, we know the rankings are nonsense. I mean, how far ahead of John Rahm is he in the world rankings now? We know the rankings have gone. But I mean, you have to respect what he's done. Runner up in the Players Championship. And is he going to be on the Ryder Cup team now? There's people talking about Ben Griffin being on the Ryder Cup team a couple of weeks ago. Ben Griffin's still got a very good chance of being on the Ryder Cup team. You might have J.J. Spaun and Ben Griffin on the American Ryder Cup team. And at the start of the year, if you told me that, I would have told you were crazy.
Right, should we move on? Should we start looking for? We've got 3 tournaments to preview, unless you've got anything else to add, Steve?
No, very much move on. Yeah, 3 tournaments.
Right, as you've mentioned, we are off to the Travellers here, the final signature event of the year. Stellar lineup. We'll get on to that. Where are we? Talk to us about the track, Steve.
TPC River Highlands, Cromwell, Connecticut, 6,844 yards, par 70, only 2 par 5s. The course record is 58. Jim Furyk carded that in 2016. Cameron Young carded a 59 last year. Pete Dye Design has hosted this event since 1984. It's short, quite tight in places. We've had a mixed bunch on the honours board. And the atmosphere is the thing I like about this tournament. The atmosphere is always excellent. This is huge galleries. Only the Phoenix Open attracts bigger galleries than this one. We got sunny and warm weather for those galleries this week. Moderate afternoon breezes on Thursday and Friday, but otherwise calm. 72 going to post. No cut. As you say, signature event, $20 million in the pot.
Okay, right. Give us a key attribute. I think it sounds like we're going from one extreme to the next there. If there's people shooting 58s and 59s.
Yeah, that's it. You could have 159 at Oakmont, couldn't you? I mean, you've got to putt well to win this. It's a very mixed honours board. You've got your Ches Reeves on there, but I'm concentrating on the last 3 editions, and I'll explain that later on the sort of player I'm after.
Okay, well, the last 3 winners, the captain, the chef, Scotty Scheffler, Keegan Bradley, and Xander Schauffele, last 3 winners. Market leaders, the captain leads the way, along with Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa, and Xander Schauffele. First of 3 tournaments. How many in the team for the Travellers?
3.
3. Okay. Who is the main selection for the Travellers?
It is Ludwig Aubert. Keeping the faith in Ludwig Aubert. He got his game in great order for the US Open. Really encouraging signs in the final round at Memorial and his 4 rounds at Canada. The US Open did not go to plan. He missed the cut by a shot. I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater, Dave. Yeah, the form he showed coming into the US Open is important. Such fine margins last week, Dave. Such fine margins. No disgrace in his rounds of 72, 76, miscut by a shot. I can see him turning that miscut into a positive. 4 rounds at Oakmont, the most difficult course on the US Open rota. Some bad weather thrown in at the weekend with suspensions and that. Yeah, that's a mentally grueling 72 holes for the players that played 72 holes. What appetite have those players got? Never mind Rory McIlroy. What appetite have others got that's after 4 rounds at Oakmont? I can't see them applying themselves properly for 72 holes of the Travellers. They must be drained, Dave. Some more than others. A good example is Robert McIntyre, as we discussed. Did you know Robert McIntyre is playing his 7th consecutive tournament this week? He's not missed the cut in any of them. So 7 weeks in a row, 72 holes. McIntyre must be knackered. Aubert, fresh as a daisy in comparison. The bookies are out to get him. The bookies enjoyed what happened last week. They're dangling really juicy prices about Ludwig Aubert. I have to accept those odds. I'm happy to, if the bookmakers want to lay him, I want to back him at these odds. There's loads of juice in the price. The last 3 winners of the Travellers, as I mentioned, Dave, very similar profile to Aubert, churn out greens and regulation. Xander Schauffele, Keegan Bradley, Scotty Scheffler. Aubert fits that profile. I think his game is in great shape. There's plenty of players who had their game in great shape who missed the cut last week. It wasn't just Ludwig Aubert. Look, Wacom Neiman, of course, playing magnificent golf, then misses the cut at Oakmont. Sepp Strack has been playing great all year. His game's in top order, missed the cut at Oakmont. Shane Lowry. Did you see what happened to Shane Lowry last week, Dave? You've been 100 over par, having played fantastic all week.
I thought he was going to snap the flag stick at one point, Shane Lowry.
Well, I wish he'd snapped all the flag stick, get the tournament cancelled for me. The point I'm making is I wouldn't get too hung up on a miscut at Oakmont, particularly by one shot. If Ludwig Aubert could have snuck through to the weekend, who knows where he would have finished in that golf tournament. And he knows River Highlands really well. We're still talking about a very inexperienced player here, relatively speaking, but this is his 3rd Travellers Championship. We tipped him on his debut at 100-1 in 2023. He finished 24th in that tournament. He was world number 760 at the time. Then last year, he finished 27th. So 24, 27th are his form figures. But the week before last year's event, he contended on his US Open debut at Pinehurst. He was halfway leader, you might remember. So halfway leader, dropped to 12th place over the weekend. So he came to River Highlands last year jaded, as the US Open contenders will this week. But this time, fresh, hungry, determined, much like me. Going to set the record straight this week. Ludwig.
Listen, I'm not disappointed by the selection. I'm happy to go again. I'm very disappointed in the manner in which you delivered the selection, though. Where was the growl?
Was there lack of spunk? Yeah, lack of spunk.
Yes. That's what, when we do the roundup at the end, please promise me we get a serious growl. Okay. Listen, I've got to throw back. You talk about Bobby Mack playing 7 times in a row. Yeah. A golfer plays golf, so what? But, I mean, you're talking about the kind of mental strain, aren't you, in these tournaments?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I've been tipping for 7 weeks in a row after I've mentally trained. I haven't left the work shed. But I think, Bobby McIntyre's invested a lot there. I like, all my 3 players here have missed the cut last week. Let's get that out at the Open. I think that's a positive. It's a negative for last week. They'll turn it into a positive for this week.
Okay, right. I like your style. Right. Well, some big names missed the cut, so I'm eager to know the next best is. Who are we going with?
Next best is Patrick Cantlay, Dave. We're keeping the faith with Ludwig Aubert. We're keeping the faith with Patrick Cantlay. I can handle the abuse, Dave. I can see your face. You know that the abuse is coming. I've been doing this job for a quarter of a century now, Dave. Water off a duck's back. I'll read the abuse, I'll cry for a little bit, and then I'll stiffen my upper lip, Dave. I'm ready for it. Cantlay missed the cut by a shot at the US Open. The opposite rounds to Ludwig Gobert, 76-72. A triple bogey at the 7th hole in round 1 did most of the damage to Cantlay. Listen to this, Dave. He was 7 over par through 16 holes of the tournament, Cantlay, and then only 8 over par through 36 holes of the tournament. So he steadied his ship. He was Scheffler-like. He was the captain of his ship. He steadied it, but couldn't do quite enough to make the weekend. Again, going to turn a negative into a positive. He's fresh for one of his favourite courses on the PGA Tour. Patrick Cantlay has had a long love affair with River Highlands. It started way back in 2011. I remember you were born in 2011, Dave. You're such a fresh-faced character. That was his first regulation PGA Tour event. He was still an amateur. He carded a second round 60, Dave. Announced himself to the world. Hit the top of the leaderboard in the Travellers. Faded to 24th place over the weekend. Then from 2018 onwards, Cantlay has been a Travellers regular as a professional. Form figures of 15, 15, 11, 13, 13, 4, 5. Relentless consistency. 7 consecutive top 15 finishes, Dave. When someone offers you odds against about a Cantlay top 20 finish this week, which will happen, you'll have every right to be foaming at the mouth. This is a fantastic each-way investment. Cantlay's been a bit like me this year, Dave. He's been flopping in the majors, but he's been banking healthy dough in the regulation events. He loves a signature event. Look at his record in signature events. Highly motivated by money, Patrick Cantlay.
Much like yourself as well, yeah.
Well, his game face will be on this week, Patrick Cantlay. Trust me, he'll be right up for this one. I have to stick with him.
Listen, this is ground that we've trodden on this show before, but talk to me just about the journey of Cantlay in his career so far, because it promised so much early on.
Yeah.
And now not so much.
Absolutely, yeah. Former world number 1 amateur, burst on the scene like in that Travellers Championship in 2011, and then some injury problems soon afterwards. Had to have 3 seasons out, essentially. So he's battled back from injury. He's battled back from all sorts, and we're all frustrated about the winless streak he's on at the moment. But I just can't see it lasting for much longer. And we were all frustrated last week, but we. As I say, I don't even fully understand the throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I think it applies here.
Well, welcome back to the sweet spot. I've just been turfed out of the room I was in the office. Far more important people were needed in that room than I. But I've relocated. We are 2 down in the Travellers, 1 to go. Steve, your good self has not been disturbed, which is all good. That's what matters.
I thought the ghost had got you, Dave. I thought those ghosts.
What was he called? Slimer. Spooked. Oh, well, yes. Yeah, all that. Right. We've still got the 3rd selection to come. Furnish us with that, Steve. Who are we going for?
It's Bud Cooley, who opened up this week at huge prices, totally disrespected in the market. This is a lad who came on the PGA Tour at the same time as Cantlay, actually. If you rewind 14 years from now, I'm here waxing lyrical about Cantlay and Cooley. They tied for 24th place in that 2011 Travellers. Cooley was 11th in the 2014 Travellers. And then a few years later, he had a near fatal car crash, Dave. You probably know about, loads of really bad injuries. It's taken him years to get over it. He opened with a 69 in the 2020 Travellers. Then he withdrew with COVID. COVID was sweeping through that edition of the Travellers. But then he didn't play any golf at all in 2021, 2022, and 2023. The injury problems just overwhelmed him. Made his comeback last year. Returned as a father, became a father in his time off. This fella's got amazing perspective on life and golf. His temperament is excellent. He's a really cool dude, as you can imagine when you go through all that. And the comeback's just been sensational. He finished 5th in the Sanderson Farms Championship last year. And then this year, 6th place at Sawgrass, 4th in the Valspar, 5th in the Texas Open, 3rd at Colonial last month. River Highlands are a great fit for him. So, I think he's a superb each-way investment. And like my other 2, Aubert and Cantlay, Cooley missed the cut last week in the US Open. Narrow missed cut. Open with a 70, 79 Friday, and he's packing his bags. But, my 3, fresh for the fight, underrated in the betting.
fresh for the fight. I've got to admire your ability to spin a negative into a positive, that players have missed the cut, so they've not had another 2 days of trauma trying to battle with that golf course. So they're
Yeah.
coming with a bit left in the tank. That's what we're saying.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we'll go through all the market principles now, and I'll try and put you off them.
Okay, right. Well, let's start with the captain, then the chef. He's short price again here, isn't he? Very short. Is this what we're going to
Yeah.
see now? Every week he lines up, Steve.
Yeah. I mean, he's the same. He's 3-1. You can get 3-1, Chef. They're the defending champion, but his putter's gone cold, hasn't it? You know, there's been signs lately that the putter's gone cold. You have to putt well this week. I can easily avoid the 3-1. And then the second favourite, I don't know how you're feeling about the second favourite, Rory.
How can you back him? Like, I'd invite anyone in the comments, other than the fact that he's just an unbelievable golfer and we know he's one of the best in the world, make a case for backing him.
The only solace you can have as a McIlroy fan is that he drove the ball really well on Sunday. He played well on Sunday. I mean, he spoke about the Sunday round on the Saturday, and they asked him what his target was for it, and he just said get round in under 4.5 hours and get out of here. Like his attitude was terrible towards that final round, but he played well. Attitude is everything for McIlroy this week. You know, it reminds me a bit of the Impossible Job documentary that I've watched about a million times. Remember when Carlton Palmer's talking to Paul Gascoigne and he goes, "We might give you 20 minutes if you improve your attitude." I feel like, how do we know how McIlroy's going to approach this tournament between the ears? If he can't get motivated for a US Open, said he didn't care whether he made the cut last week when he was around the cut line. Can he get motivated for the Travelers Championship? It's going to require a sudden change of mental attitude, isn't it? And you assume he's going to do the bare minimum in preparation this week. When's he going to turn up at the Travelers Championship? I mean,
is he going to turn up?
Well, if he's going to turn up late, isn't he? I can't imagine there'll be any practice rounds. I mean, he may even say, "I don't fancy the Pro-Am. I can do what I like." This seems to be his approach now. I don't know. I don't know whether you can play McIlroy in his current mood. He's just angry, disillusioned. And Xander Schauffele.
I mean, we're not doubting his ability, are we? We're just between the ears. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And the driver's back now. He had the spell where his driving was terrible. He had the non-conforming driver at the USPGA, and then he struggled to. He's been fiddling with his driver. But last week his driving was good. So maybe that's enough to perk him up. I don't know. I much prefer Xander Schauffele of the market.
I thought you was going to tip him this week.
Yeah, really close. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, last name off the list. I've gone with my 3, but you could easily make a case for him because he's been slowly but surely getting his act together. Eager to win. He'd be much more motivated than the others we've mentioned. But he played 72 holes at Oakmont. Maybe he's a bit too jaded, but he would be the 4th. If you want 4, I would recommend him.
Okay. Other mentions: Morikawa, who in places is a short price than Schauffele. I don't know why, but he is. We've discussed him at length. He's always an each way play, but he never wins. Just
such a disappointing golfer to follow, isn't he? His short game was woeful last week. I'm not convinced with this new alliance with the new caddy, as I've mentioned before. No, I can easily live without Collin Morikawa.
And finally, one of my faves. You tried to put me off him last week. Justin Thomas.
Yeah. I mean, just wild driving. Missed the cut comfortably last week, like so many big names did. I can't get excited about Justin Thomas around here either. So, Morikawa would be pleased that McIlroy's had this tiff with the media. So
he's no longer the bad boy of the press room. Yeah,
spread the hate a little bit, but no. Schauffele's the only one I was remotely close other than my 3.
Okay, right. Anything else to add here, Steve, or should we move on?
No, we got 2 other puzzles to solve. A ladies' event and a seniors' event.
Okay, well, talk to us about the ladies' event. Where are we off to? Big one.
Fields Ranch East at PGA Frisco, Texas. You might remember it from the 2023 Senior PGA. That's the last
vividly,
time.
Yes, vividly.
Yes. 6,604 yards, par 72. So a new venue for this tournament. I think accurate approach shots are the key to success here. The greens are small, sunny and hot weather throughout, moderate breezes throughout. A field of 156 going to post. The top 70 in ties make the cut.
Okay, have we got an attribute here? What are we looking for?
Yeah, I think accurate approach play to small greens is the key to success. We've only got one selection on this, Dave. We've got a 3-1-2 formation this week.
Okay, 6 each way trebles then. Right, market leaders, Titical, Corda, all the big names are there, Steve. Is it going to be one of the big dogs?
Yeah, I've got a reasonably big dog as my number one selection, yes.
Bring it to me. Who are we going with?
Ruining Ying. Ruining Yin. The pride of China. A 22-year-old with the world at her feet. She won this event in 2023 to become a major champion. She was 20 years of age when she won her first major. She finished second in the Open Championship last year. And in the 2 women's majors we've had so far this year, she's finished second and fourth. Second in the Chevron Championship, fourth in the US Open. She's a lady for the big occasion, fantastic temperament, formidable competitor. I think she's going to handle Fields Ranch better than anyone this week. Yeah, this course is going to be a decent test. We got breeze in the forecast. Yin can claim a second major title. Over the last 2 months, I don't see anyone playing better than her on the LPGA Tour. Her approach play stats are really good lately. So, yeah, I thought she's been a bit disrespected in the market. You mentioned the 2 names above her in the betting. Gino Titical never won a major, missed the cut in the US Open. Nelly Corda, the second fav, hasn't won anything this year, missed the cut in the last 2 PGA Championships. So for me, Yin being a bit disrespected there in the betting.
Right, and we've covered bases of the market leaders. They're the 2 ahead of her in the market. Anything else to add there, Steve? Anything at a big price that you nearly tipped?
Yeah. There was. Rose Zhang. Rose Zhang is 3 figures in places, and that was tempting because she's got huge potential, and we were backing her a lot a couple of years ago. She was potentially going to be the new Tiger Woods of the LPGA circuit, but it's fascinating. She took a winter sabbatical, Dave. Put her golf clubs away and just focused on her schoolwork for the whole of the winter. And then when she returned to golf this year, it took a little time to get going. Then she got a neck injury in April, so she hasn't played much golf. Been struggling for fitness, so I probably I'm not going to take the chance on those big prices. So I like the idea of having all my eggs in one basket here. Rinnin Yin.
Okay, marvellous. Right, we're going to tackle the golden oldies as well, the seniors. I didn't ask you, and I meant to ask you. We've watched the US Open at Oakmont. What would you have shot, Steve, do you think, if you'd gone round there?
Goodness gracious. Well, I'm a very aggressive putter as it is. I like to give my ball a chance. So I think
I'm playing off the green. More than once.
Yeah, I think I would have D-greened plenty. Yeah, I don't know, 150, I suppose.
Because I did see that Bruce Millington, the great Bruce Millington, former host of this very show, he obviously took it around with you, and you was posing in front of the pylon.
Yeah. Bruce lined him up in front of the pylons. I mean, very, very applicable given how the US Open went. We needed some pylon visits. But I played quite well that day. It was in Chilworth in Southampton. Got a warm welcome there. Never played there before. But me and Bruce played well there. And that was the day before my knee just gave way. So I had a nice jolly time in Southampton. And then as soon as I got back to Weymouth, my knee just sort of doubled in size and continued to grow. And my right knee was bigger than my head at stages on Sunday. I borrowed my old great grandma's walking stick. I've been using my great grandma's walking stick. She lived to 100 years of age and used to walk around like this. I remember I had it because I was dressed up as Yoda once to go to a fancy dress party. So this was just coming handy. So I'm looking like Yoda at the moment with my knee. So I think it's just US Open stress. So I'm glad I got a game of golf in before the knee let go. Got a bit of recovery to do now on that.
Because I wondered if the pylon visit might have coincided with the darts action. We're going to have to mention that, aren't we?
Yeah, I know. We have to mention
the
no.
1 to 2 each way play.
No. I'm happy to talk about that. I mean, it'd be a nice bit of therapy for me, Dave. Because as I say, like it was one of those weeks. I rarely have these weeks. One of those weeks where I wish I was a bookmaker because it wasn't just the golf. Every sport was a bookmaker's benefit last week, wasn't it? The punters went through the ringer last week. England got such a terrible draw, like Germany in their first match. Germany away. The Frankfurt crowd was hostile. The Germans really played to the peak of their abilities, and England lost to Germany. And then obviously
Did you
when England,
see the press conference with Gerwyn Price when he said they sat down and didn't even talk to each other, and are they not friendly? What's the vibe there? No chemistry.
I think Pricey was just trying to stoke the fires there, and
I love it.
No, the Lukes get on well. I mean, I think Pricey was just being a bit mischievous there. But the trouble is when England got knocked out, then I jumped aboard Wales, and I don't know whether you followed the tournament from there. Wales lost in a deciding leg in the final, so the World Cup of darts could not have gone worse for me. And then your mate Bocco's Diamond. Punters.
Listen, I'll tip the winner anti-post in the Racing Post. So my mate Bocco's, he was the lead dog as the favourite in the preview, but if you read the copy, the each-way play was one in the final.
Well, it was successful for the one backers there then, Dave. But Bocco's Diamond. Obviously, I've got a love affair with Bocco's Diamond, and just found a little bit too much trouble on the way, and then one finished like a train, didn't it? But so a tough week for punters. Apart from followers of your anti-post dog column there, Dave.
Listen, they're on the sweet spot. Good week, bad week. Good week, bad week. We're back.
Well, this is it. We like the lesser events. We did well in the majors last year, but we've still got one to go this year to salvage it. We like the Kaulig Companies Championship, Dave. We really do.
Golden oldies. What we're looking at here?
Well, it's probably confusing people. How can the Kaulig Companies Championship be a major? But it used to be the Senior Players Championship, and they've renamed it. I mean, goodness knows how much money Kaulig companies have thrown at the Champions Tour bigwigs to get a major named after their company. I've no idea what their company does. It's nothing to do with the cornflakes. That's Kellogg's, isn't it? The cornflakes.
Because this was formerly known as the Seniors Players
Senior
Championship.
Players Championship. That's the Kaulig Companies Championship. We're at a very famous venue, the South Course at Firestone, Akron, Ohio. You must remember this course, Dave.
Yeah.
7,248 yard, par 70. Hosted the WGC Bridgestone Invitational on the PGA Tour until 2018. From 2019 onwards, it's been the home to this. Long parkland track, tree-lined fairways. It demands strong ball striking. We've got decent weather coming, but a bit of wind on Saturday afternoon. A field of 78 for this one, and no cut.
Okay, market leaders then. Stuart Sink and Podrick Harrington contest favouritism. Ernie Els is up there as well. And if I remember rightly, we've got a two-pronged attack for this one, have we?
Yeah, we've got a two-pronged attack. Yes, sir.
Okay, main selection.
We have got some others at bigger prices that we mentioned, but I love the fact that I think this is a shootout between my two. And the number one selection, Angel Cabrera, who is playing some of the best golf of his life. We spoke about Bud Cauley's golfing perspective and life's perspective earlier. Bud Cauley's temperament, amazing. Angel Cabrera's temperament is better than it's ever been now, because when you spend some time away from the game, you come back with an appreciation of how lucky you are playing golf for a living. Cauley out of the game injured for many years. Cabrera out the game for 30 months because he was in prison. He's come out from prison full of remorse. He knows he messed up badly. Now he's in a good mental place. And the most peace he finds seems to be on the golf course now. He's loving his golf. That free-flowing swing of his is looking glorious again. It's a reborn 55-year-old we've got here. And he's been dominating the Champions Tour majors this season, Dave. He's looking to upstage Rory McIlroy. This will put Rory McIlroy in an even worse mood if Angel Cabrera becomes a story of golf. He's going for a calendar Grand Slam, Dave. Angel Cabrera has won the first two majors of 2025, the Regions Tradition last month, then the Senior PGA Championship. So 2 down, 3 to go. He's only played in 5 senior majors in his Champions Tour career. He's won 2 of them, and I think the fun continues this week. He won 2 proper majors as a younger man, you might remember. The 2007 US Open, the 2009 Masters. He showed back then he could handle Firestone. Strong driving is a huge asset at Firestone. Cabrera was 4th in the 2009 Bridgestone Invitational. Tiger Woods won that event. Cabrera was also 4th at Firestone in 2004 and in 2006. Tiger Woods won that edition as well. So Angel hasn't got to worry about Tiger this week. I think he'll get his 4th Champions Tour victory of the year on Sunday. He's won one regulation event as well.
Yeah, this is definitely the minute you just mention the track, you just automatically think of Tiger Woods and some of the incredible golf he's played around this course.
Absolutely, yeah. No, Tiger's won me a fortune around Firestone in the past. Long live Tiger Woods. But Tiger doesn't fancy the Champions Tour. You'll never see Tiger Woods on the Champions Tour.
Is this 50? Is the cut-off 50 again? You need to be 50
yeah,
years
you
young
need to be 50. You need to be 50, which Tiger is very, very soon, but he's got no interest in it. But Angel Cabrera absolutely loves getting out there now.
Is he sending it off the tee, Cabrera?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Still sending it, yeah?
Yeah. When the duck flaps his wings, Dave, the ball is sent, yeah.
Right. He's the main selection. Who is the next best?
Stuart Sink. This looks a 2-horse race to me. Well, 2-human race. Hate it when people say that. 2-human race here. 2 proven Firestone performers. Sink won the 2004 NEC Invitational at Firestone. He repelled Tiger Woods in the process. Then he had another battle with Tiger Woods in 2006. Went to a four-hole playoff, that was. Sink has pushed Tiger Woods. He's beaten Tiger Woods at Firestone. Sink finished 7th in his only appearance at Firestone as a senior in this event. He's since gone on to shed his Champions Tour maiden tag. He won his first event last year. He won his second event last month. His record in the senior majors reads 3-7, 3-9, 12, 4. I think he'll give himself a great chance of a first senior major on Sunday. A Sink v Cabrera shootout. Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating tournament. I mean, you've got the devoted family man Sink up against the convicted villain Cabrera. I think the American galleries will be siding with Stuart Sink, but it'd be a fascinating tussle.
What of Harrington?
Yeah, Harrington is just edging Sink for favouritism. I think it's very close at the top of the betting. He's not been as good as usual this year. I much prefer Stuart Sink, who's much earlier in his Champions Tour career, and I give Sink the edge over Harrington. And Cabrera nicely deep on the board. Robert Carlson was one of the bigger prices I was tempted.
I was going to ask you. I couldn't leave, although you're only sticking with those two. Who did you flirt with at big prices? Yeah,
Robert Carlson, strong driver in good nick, tempting option, and Michael Wright. We've been following Michael Wright. We've been in the Racing Post on we do pretty regular Champions Tour major previews, and Michael Wright's been we've been backing Michael Wright at big prices. A young man in relative terms on the Champions Tour, fitter than he's ever been. He's got this gymnasium routine now that is really working well. But the bookies have cottoned on to Michael Wright, and he's much shorter than he has been for the previous 2 majors. So, I think it's sensible. I think it's sensible to just stick with a 2-pronged attack here and a what? Yeah.
Lovely. Right, a reminder of the concessions this week. The 25% winnings boost is on the Travellers. With SBK, so make sure you jump onto the website there, betsbk.com. And before we do the roundup, is of course Royal Ascot this week, and we've got you covered here on the Racing Post YouTube channel. 8 a.m. Good morning Ascot, and then in the evening, be in the know, so you can get all the info you need before and after racing. We have got you covered. Right, let's do a roundup then, Steve. 3 tournaments. We are a 3, a 1, a 2, so 6 each way trebles. We'll start with the Travellers. Who are we going with?
Ludwig Aubert, Patrick Cantlay, and Bud Corley.
The Women's PGA Championship.
Rin Yin or Yin Rin Yin.
Okay. I'm just going to call it the Seniors Players Championship. It's on the Champions Tour. Who are we going with the Golden Oldies?
The Kellogg's Cornflakes Championship, Angel Cabrera and Stuart Sink.
Marvellous. What you got coming up this week, Steve? Anything exciting? Any birthday parties, dog parties, anything?
No. We had all the fun last week, didn't we? We had Father's Day. Obviously, my huge knee was causing a lot of concerns on Father's Day, but I got to a nice public house called the World's End. Had a nice lunch in the World's End, and then Henry Harwick, another father, came down to visit me in the evening, so I had a few tinctures with Henry Harwick by Weymouth Harbour. So, we had a wonderful Father's Day until he was on Wales as well, until Wales lost to Northern Ireland in the final of the World Cup of Darts. We had a jolly time. But no, I'm just going to keep my head down this week, Dave. and recover and hopefully get this knee a little bit smaller. And then hopefully Lady Luck will be on our side. I thought Lady Luck was in an awful mood last week, Dave. We needed to chill out a bit this week and show a bit of mercy. And we'll get back on track. Good week, bad week, good week, bad week, good week, bad week.
We're back. Don't worry, we're back. Some of the finest content ever produced by the Racing Post featured Henry Hardwick, Ordinary Punter. Remember that? We've got to bring that back. Got to bring that back.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, no, he's in good form. He's good form. I mean, his son has grown up and is taller than him now, and
wow,
he's got to the stage where his son can sort of kick his head in. So his Father's Day is very different to mine, But yeah, we'll let it join. We're back.
Right, Steve, it's been a pleasure as ever. Thank you out there for watching as well. Do get involved. Drop us a comment. I'd like to know if anyone's got any good things at Royal Ascot. Let us know those. If you're playing in the golf, if you're following Steve, and of course, remember to take full advantage of those concessions with SBK, betsbk.com. Enjoy the golf, gamble responsibly. We'll see you next week.